I've reached out with a very early preliminary inquiry to their side. I'll let you know how it goes. Hard to get a read on it at the moment. These things are always fluid and move quickly, but if they're interested in us, I'm sure things will move a bit quicker.
Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
Here's a quick position rundown for you. The top 5 are, so the current fastest lap, 1:35.9. Russell, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg and Norris. So as for the cars around us, just ahead are Hülkenberg, Norris and Verstappen. And we're in front of Sainz, Hadjar and Stroll.
And that's it for sprint qualifying. Plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend. So we'll see you all tomorrow.
Okay, we've been pushed down to P13. So, just ahead of us in this session at the moment are the fastest lap at the moment, 1 minute 35.6. Piastri, Leclerc and Gasly. And we're in front of Doohan, Antonelli and Sainz.
And that's it for sprint qualifying. Plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend, so we'll see you all tomorrow.
Here are the top 5 cars as things stand. Okay, so the current fastest lap, 1:34.9. Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri and Hamilton. Okay, so as for the cars around us, just ahead are Hamilton, Tsunoda and Doohan. And just behind us are Gasly, Russell.
And that's it for sprint qualifying. Plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend, so we'll see you all tomorrow. It's wet here today and we're expecting those downpours to continue. This will make for a difficult sprint for all the teams. The ever-tightening turns of 1 and 2 will prove tricky in the slippery conditions here in Shanghai, and anyone that slides wide will lose a lot of time getting back on track. Turn 14 should still be the best place for overtaking, but we'll have to see some improvement in the weather before the drivers can take advantage of that DRS assistance. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Piastri, Charles Leclerc and Hamilton, Russell, Doohan, Gasly and David Coulthard, Sainz, Antonelli, Nico Hülkenberg and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Bortoletto, Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar, Ocon, Webber, Behrman and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a... Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
We don't have the data for that, I'm afraid. Sorry, we can't provide you with that information right now. Here's a quick position rundown for you. The top 5 are... Okay, so the current fastest lap, 1:35.0. Verstappen, Tsunoda, Norris, Piastri and Sainz. Okay, we're currently at the back, that's last place.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. It played host to Formula One's 1000th Grand Prix back in 2019. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles per hour with DRS assistance down the back straight before the cars brake into the tight hairpin at turn 14. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Sainz, Nico Hülkenberg, Doohan, Coulthard, Hadjar, Behrman, and Pierre Gasly, Leclerc, Antonelli, and Sir Lewis Hamilton and Albon, Lawson, Russell, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Webber, Ocon, and Max Verstappen completes the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson, and let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Well, they'll definitely be glad that there's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. Now, I'll be generous here. It's not that long ago that you were racing and entertaining us on a Sunday, but in the years since, the sport has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, Crofty. You know, the cars have got bigger, they're heavier, but critically, there's more downforce to play with as well now. There was around 4 tons of downforce on the car at 300 kilometres an hour when I drove. You're now looking more towards 5 tons of downforce. So there's a big difference in performance. But because of that, the car being heavier and bigger, you've got to drive in a smoother way. You've got to look after it a bit more. You've got to nurse it through the slow-speed corners more. They were much more nimble, agile machines when I drove in Formula 1 compared to now.
Radio check, please. Radio check. Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected. We don't have the data for that, I'm afraid. Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts. Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights. DRS now available. That's P5, you're in P5. The distance to the leader, 5.0 seconds. Doohan's ahead of you. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 2.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. That's Hulkenberg behind. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Your pit window opens in 8 laps time. 27 laps to go. Doohan ahead, and the time last lap, 1 minute 39.7. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 2.2 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 2 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. All right, you're falling back by 1/10 a lap. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. Okay, slow down, your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast. Reduce your pace. Okay, this is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race. Away in just a moment, stand by. For a bit of understeer when trailing the car ahead. They're going to be giving off dirty air, which is going to affect our tyres, so try to get past. DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled. Mark's coming in for his stop. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Seems to have been a problem removing the right rear wheel. We need to try and put it behind us though, and let's finish this race strong. P20, that's Gasly ahead. Okay, gap ahead, 8.2 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Okay, that's Mark behind. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Sainz ahead. Okay, gap to the car in front, 5.8 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Car ahead's coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead now running medium tyres. Okay, so that's P20 right now, P20. Okay, Sainz is ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead, 6.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Car behind you is Mark. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 13 laps to go. ERS is low, ERS is low. Consider changing mode on your MFD or lift a little with gentle braking into corners to recharge it. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 8.0 seconds. So you know, we're getting some strange readings from a couple of the sensors, so I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data, so keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems. Okay, safety car deployed. Safety car's been deployed. Watch your delta. Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack. Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there's no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags. Okay, clear. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race, final lap. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 3.9 seconds. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Yuki Tsunoda takes the checkered flag and wins.
A great display of dominance today, Crofty, by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. And the little man towers over the rest. It's the top step of the podium for Yuki Tsunoda. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
We have something for you to look at, please.